Get something here. Khazarians. Who are the real Khazarians? The real Khazarians are your Etruscans. The the name Khazarian comes from the word Kaiser. So the word Kaiser is where you got the name Caesar from. The Caesars or the Caesarian nation are the nations of the Caesars of Rome. They are Roman Republic people. They are people of the Caesar. Now, we do understand that during the existence of the Roman Empire, there was an empire that existed as an asylum seeking empire within the Roman Republic, and that is the Greek Empire, and which is the empire of the Moors who left America, Egypt, after being conquered by the Medes. We know that story, it's also documented in the Bible. So the Khazarians are not the Jewish people. The Jewish people are Egyptian. The name Jewish comes from a person looking like the Jews. Who are the Jews? The Jews is me, the Bantus of the Levant, the Lebantu. Now, when you are Jewish, is when you are Soto, you're North American, you're Sudanic, you look like the Jews, so you are Jewish. They don't look like the Jews, they are just Jewish by a bloodline. What do they mean they're Jewish by bloodline? Because they were once Moors, and Moors are Jewish. So after they graved themselves into the genetics of the Khazarians, the Caesars of Rome, they looked as if the Caesars of Rome, but they were of the Jewish bloodline of Egypt, which is North America, Sudan, the real Sudan, not the Jerusalem that you today call Sudan. No, it's not Sudan. Levant is not Africa. So, and that is why you hear people like him calling themselves the Black Jews. He's not a Jew. He's Jewish. He looks like me. He looks like the Jews. He's not the son of Gabolan. He's not a Bantu. He's actually a Peruvian Lima. He comes from the town of Lima in Peruvia. He's an African. He's brothers with this guy. He's E1B1B. Malema, even though he doesn't have beards, don't think that his DNA is gonna say North Sudan. No, which is North America. No, he's a South American. He's a Lima. He's Peruvian Lima. It's very much important to understand that this a Jewish person looks like this. This cannot legally be called a Jewish person because he doesn't look Egyptian. You have to first get the Egyptian color. You see, Malema was Latino, Latino, but then he breeded himself into the Bantus when they raped and unalived the Bantus in 1467 during the second wave of attacks or the second conquest of El Gibulan by the Africans alone this time. The first time when they did it in 7 AD, it was the Africans being led by the Khazarians, which are the Caesars of Rome, the Etruscans, the Terracans, the white people, when they were still together. But because the Moors betrayed and toppled Rome, raped the women, they ethnically cleanse the men, rape the women, so that they take the identity of the cases. You see, Bashar al-Assad is a real Etruscan. You see him by the skull shape because he's got an Asian skull. The Africans don't have an Asian skull, even though they look white. It's because of breeding themselves through the women in order to look white. This is very much important. I thought I'd give it to you, and I'm just gonna give you some time to actually look at the writing that is written here. When you read them, you're gonna make a clear understanding of what is actually going on in the world, because what you have perceived as the truth is actually the greatest lie ever told to humanity. And for some reason, you thought it was told by a white person. No, it's actually been told by a black person wearing a white person's skin. And these are the Moors that went into Europe, ethnically cleansed the native, or rather the original Etruscan or Terracan people of Teresia, and then annexed Teresia and called Teresia Yoruba. You must understand, why did they call Teresia Yoruba? It's because they are Yoruba. They lived along the desert after 7 AD, when the Terracans and the Africans, the Moors, conquered, annexed Jerusalem, which is Al-Qibla, and the whole entire continent. They then settled what you would call the places that are settled by Arabs. And you must understand, the Arab name is called Yoruba, or that's where the Arab word come from, Yoruba. So what actually happened here is that when Hannibal Barca had been living in a desert, because that's where the Arabs live, even though real Arabia is South America, Chile, and Australia, it's also Saudi Arabia, according to inheritance of the Chilean or the Chaldee people. The name Arab means Yoruba. It comes from etymology in Yoruba. So when you're saying Yoruba, Yoruba, the E stands for Yoruba. They meant that because of the conquest, the place is now an Yoruba place, like the West African Yoruba that are living in West Kabulan, calling it West Africa. These things are very much important that people understand. The name Europe is not Terracan, it's not Roman. It's after the conquest of the Roman republics by Hannibal Barca, who came from the arid desert area of what you call today modern Middle East and what you call Tunis, Algeria, and all those places, because these people lived there. They opened colonies there in 64 AD after they conquered the Bantus, ethnically cleansed the men, raped the women, assimilated themselves into the cities and the nations of the Bantus, and they opened colonies. The first colony was called Tripoli in Tunis, what they came to call in their false history Carthage. There was no such thing as Carthage. It was called Tripoli. All the cities or the countries that you have, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, till modern day Egypt, was actually a creation of Tripoli, which was in Tunis, the first city, which was a sort of a resupply position for the Crusaders when they were attacking the Bantus. It's very, very much important that people understand. Later, Odessa was established, and Odessa became the administration center of the Moorish Terracan empire that was controlling El-Kibulan and the nations in El-Kibulan that were assimilated with both Terracan people that they grape into Bantu women, and also Igbo or so-called Tev or Tiberius people or Debele people or Ndebele people that the Moors graped into the Bantu women to create their new race or nationality. It is very, 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 very much important to understand who this African is. And you must, somebody would say, no, we always stayed in North Africa. No, it was never called North Africa, and there was nobody staying there, because the empire that was destroyed prior to the destruction of Jerusalem was called the Persian Empire. And the Persian Empire didn't give the Moors, which are the Greeks, and the Roman, any jurisdiction to cross any borderline of the continent of El-Kibulan, including its islands. Yes, some of the islands, like Madagascar, they were working for Zetskis in them as slave for Zetskis, but not in the interior of El-Kibulan, working randomly without being assigned by Zetskis to go and do job for him. Yes, they used to come into El-Kibulan, mine and do all activities, but with passport and relevant document by Zetskis, who was Zetskis the Great, who was running the world. They mustn't lie to you. The world was run by hegemon, and the Medo-Persian Empire was hegemon. Thank you very much. Adios. See you when you see me. It's me, Baraka B. You gotta love this one.